Jack Nicholson, one of cinema's greatest titans with 3 Oscars and 12 nominations, quietly walked away from Hollywood in 2010. There was no farewell tour or final nostalgic film. He simply stepped back into the absolute privacy of his Mulholland Drive estate. For years, the public speculated about his health or state of mind, wondering why a global icon would vanish without a single word. The answer finally makes sense when tracing his life, a journey built on a hidden foundation of profound family secrecy, sudden explosive fame, and a fierce lifelong desire to completely control his own narrative. Born on April 22, 1937, in New York City, Jack's true origin was hidden from birth. His biological mother, June Nicholson, was an unmarried teenager. To shield the working-class family from public scandal in that era, June's mother, Ethel May, made a monumental decision. She registered herself as Jack's biological mother. June was introduced to the world merely as his older sister. The deception ran so deep that in 1954, when a 17-year-old Jack needed official papers to travel to California, Ethel May filed a retroactive birth certificate to formalize the fiction. Jack grew up believing this story for nearly 40 years, having no reason to doubt the family structure around him. The household that raised him in New Jersey was small, working class, and stretched financially thin. The man Jack believed was his father, John Joseph Nicholson, was actually his grandfather, a department store window dresser. Ethel May worked tirelessly as a beautician. Interestingly, almost no adult in that home had been raised by their biological parents. Ethel May had been placed in foster care at age 6, and John was adopted. The people shaping Jack's world carried deep, unaddressed wounds and an ingrained habit of absolute silence, anchoring the household in a hidden emotional weight long before he understood why. By high school, Jack's restless, disruptive energy emerged clearly. In the 1954 Manasquan High School yearbook, classmates voted him both class clown and best actor, 2 labels that defined his future far more than anyone guessed. He was funny, magnetic, and deeply rebellious, once claiming he spent every single day of an entire school year serving detention. He recalled this period not with shame, but with a distinct sense of pride, proving early on that he had no interest in bending his identity to fit societal expectations. Yet, while he actively pushed against public authority, he was living inside a massive family lie he did not yet know existed. The revelation came in 1974. At 37, Jack was already a rising star following breakout turns in Easy Rider and The Last Detail. While a Time magazine researcher was preparing a comprehensive cover story, they uncovered the truth and called Jack to verify the facts. The researcher dropped the ultimate bombshell. Ethel May was his grandmother, and June was his biological mother. Jack reached out to Lorraine, the woman he thought was his other sister, who confirmed the reality. The pain was compounded by the fact that June had died of cancer in 1963 and Ethel May had passed away in 1970, leaving him to process the deception completely alone. Remarkably, Nicholson met the shattering news with a strange, haunting calm, noting that it wasn't entirely traumatizing because he was already psychologically formed as an adult. Even so, the deception left permanent marks. The 2 most important maternal figures in his life had hidden their identities. Over time, Nicholson built a life defined by intense, overlapping relationships, but he never remarried after his early divorce from Sandra Knight. He fathered children with multiple women, and his daughter later described their bond as somewhat distant. The emotional armor he developed provided a deep reservoir of psychological complexity he routinely pulled from to play dangerous characters. Before becoming an industry giant, he was just an ambitious young man trying to find a foothold in California. Arriving in Los Angeles in 1955, his first job was an errand boy at MGM's cartoon studio under animation legends William Hanna and Joseph Barbera. When offered an entry-level animator position, he turned it down because it required a slight pay cut, a pivotal choice, as the cartoon division shut down entirely by 1957. He drifted toward the Players' Ring Theater to study under Jeff Corey, a brilliant actor blacklisted during the McCarthy era. Corey taught his students to absorb life deeply rather than fake emotion, training Jack to make every scene feel volatile and deeply personal. Frustrated by B-movie typecasting in the mid-1960s, Nicholson pivoted to screenwriting. He penned the psychedelic script for Roger Corman's The Trip in 1967, drawing from his own controlled LSD experiences and the emotional fallout of his divorce. He also co-wrote Head for the Monkees. While Head flopped, the project introduced him to influential producers Bert Schneider and Bob Rafelson. In 1969, at 31, Nicholson wasn't even supposed to be in Easy Rider. He was hired primarily to oversee the chaotic production, but stepped into the role of George Hanson, the alcoholic Southern lawyer, after Rip Torn walked away following a legendary fight with Dennis Hopper. The film exploded culturally, earning Jack his first Oscar nomination. What followed was a historic, dominant run in cinema. Nicholson followed his breakout with a fierce performance in The Last Detail, cementing his magnetic archetype. In 1974, he delivered a masterpiece of restraint as Private Eye J.J. Jeet in Roman Polanski's Chinatown. His cultural power peaked the next year with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. Playing the rebellious Randall McMurphy, Nicholson won his first Best Actor Academy Award. Crucially, he negotiated a percentage of the film's profits rather than a flat fee, earning an unprecedented $15 to $20 million as the movie grossed over $163 million globally. He could now dictate his own terms. That artistic power was pushed to its physical limits during Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, 1980. Kubrick's obsessive perfectionism drove Nicholson to exhaustion. The famous bathroom door sequence took over 130 takes and destroyed roughly 60 doors before Kubrick was satisfied. Another dialogue scene reached 148 takes, entering the Guinness Book of World Records. Nicholson routinely collapsed and slept on the floor between setups. Despite the grueling environment, he pivoted seamlessly to win his second Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Terms of Endearment, 1983, showcasing a charming comedic warmth that proved his immense range. Off-screen, his lifestyle at his Mulholland Drive compound, nicknamed The Monastery, became the stuff of Hollywood legend, characterized by wild excess. However, the address became linked to tragedy in March 1977 when Polanski assaulted 13-year-old Samantha Geimer at the house while Nicholson was away. The ensuing scandal, along with a drug arrest of Nicholson's long-term partner Angelica Houston at the residence shortly after, cast a dark shadow over the compound. Yet, Nicholson's industry clout remained bulletproof. In 1989, he redefined Hollywood finance for Tim Burton's Batman, accepting a modest $6 million upfront in exchange for a massive share of box office and merchandise revenue, netting a staggering $60 to $90 million. As the decades progressed, Nicholson remained an unmatched force, winning a third Oscar for As Good as It Gets in 1997 and commanding $5 million for just 10 days of work in A Few Good Men, 1992. His thunderous delivery of "You Can't Handle the Truth" became part of film history. By the 2000s, a quiet shift occurred. His performances in About Schmidt and Martin Scorsese's The Departed carried the immense weight of an aging titan who no longer needed to prove anything. He became notoriously selective, turning down high-profile projects. Producer Lou Adler famously recalled that when asked about a film offer, Nicholson simply replied that he preferred spending his day sitting under a tree reading a book. His final appearance in the 2010 romantic comedy How Do You Know was never planned as a grand finale. Stepping in after Bill Murray dropped out, Nicholson collected a $12 million salary for a supporting role in a project that ultimately lost the studio $70 million. Without any public announcement, he simply chose never to return to a movie set. In a rare 2013 interview, he shed light on his quiet retirement, stating he no longer possessed the exhausting energy required to both work a demanding film schedule and fool around at night. Unconfirmed tabloid rumors of memory loss swirled, but close friends consistently pushed back, noting that he remained sharp, private, and entirely content inside his beautiful estate. In his final years of complete privacy, Nicholson's world narrowed down to what mattered most: his family and his lifelong passions. His children, Lorraine and Ray, became his primary companions and caregivers. For decades, his presence courtside at Los Angeles Lakers games was an institution, a front-row fixture of swagger and sunglasses that cost him millions over 50 years. When he briefly returned to his courtside seat in the spring of 2023 alongside his son Ray, the public saw an older, visibly fragile man, yet the unmistakable spark of the legendary actor remained intact. Glimpses of his deep humanity endured, such as when he personally called Angelica Houston during a wildfire evacuation to offer her his home. Though agents and filmmakers continued sending him scripts, Jack Nicholson remained comfortably in the quiet sanctuary he built, while his son Ray carried the famous family grin forward onto the silver screen.